just love this. Trump, I mean, Biden blaming Trump, Biden blaming Americans left there, Biden now trusting the Taliban. I think the whole group, Sullivan and Secretary of State, Blinken, they all going to trust the Taliban. So, folks, please indulge me. I have a somewhat different view. It's not personal. It's all about policy. In my judgment, yesterday's final plane flight from Karzai Airport in Kabul, Afghanistan, will go down as a shameful day in American history, a stain on America's honor. And after saying that American troops would remain until the last American citizens were evacuated, after saying that, President Joe Biden decided to cut and run. He left them behind on the battlefield in order to meet an arbitrary deadline, which itself was a phony date because the original withdrawal deadline was September 11th. But then 9/11 blowback caused Biden to panic and moved the date way forward. Now, we have since learned that the United States could have run all the security for the withdrawal operation. Taliban's Mullah Pardar apparently offered to let the U.S. military secure Kabul during this so-called transition. But inexplicably, we turned the offer down. And just as inexplicably, we left the Bagram airport in the dead of night without telling anybody. Not our Afghan allies, nor our NATO allies, nor the American public, until it was all discovered after the fact. Now, that is no way to run a war, and it proved totally demoralizing to everybody involved, especially, I suspect, to our Afghan allies. And just as inexplicably, U.S. forces under the direction of the commander-in-chief permitted the Taliban to run checkpoints for the Kabul airport that should have been controlled 100% by U.S. military forces. Names should not have been passed along. Biometric data should not have been abandoned. The fate of those Americans and Afghan allies remains a mystery. Who are they? How many? Where are they? We can't get a straight answer out of the administration because I don't think they know. Tragic as that is, some are calling it a kill list. Well, rest assured, the Taliban will deal with those remaining in their usual terrorist, cruel, inhumane, violent manner. That is their history. That is their custom. The Taliban took over Kabul and the other provincial capitals through a violent coup d'etat. There's no legitimacy to their administration. They must not be recognized. Monetary resources should be withheld. They're not going to change their behavior. There's no Taliban 2.0. It's an illegitimate group that will be harboring and indeed providing a homeland for many other illegitimate terrorist gangs. It's a sad day that our great American military left first while there are still Americans on the battlefield. This is part of the great tragedy. This is part of the great stain on our honor under the commander-in-chief, this commander-in-chief, Joe Biden. And now, don't tell me that President Biden has cognitive problems or some kind of dementia or anything like that stuff. I'm not an expert, but from what I see, he is more than sufficiently alert to be making decisions. And I don't want anyone to excuse these bad decisions on some mental cognitive theory. The decisions come from the Oval Office. I have been there. He is the commander-in-chief. He's the commander-in-chief of the military and foreign policy. He is also the commander-in-chief of the economy. He makes the decisions. He could have gone moderate, but instead he chose to go progressive, woke left at home and abroad. Whisperings that I hear on the right or the left that he's not in control of his senses misses this point entirely. As president, he has put us on a far-left course at home and a tragically mistaken path abroad. As my friend and colleague Jerry Baker wrote in today's Wall Street Journal, these were supposed to be the experts and the grown-ups. Instead, they proved to be arrogant, vain people whose catastrophic execution of the Afghan issue will damage our credibility for years to come. These were Biden decisions. That's the key point I'm trying to make. No excuses. No blame game. Don't blame Trump. Don't blame Americans left on the ground. Don't blame our Afghan allies. Don't blame NATO. Stop blaming and recognize that this is a great stain on our honor. And the Commander-in-Chief Biden is responsible for that stain. And finally, folks, be sure China is licking its chops over Taiwan and helping Iran and helping Pakistan. Be sure Russia is licking its chops over their newfound influence in the former Central Asian Soviet satellites. And be sure the Commander-in-Chief Biden has made the wrong decision at the wrong time in the wrong theater. Now what's left? The question is, what are we going to do about it?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.